welcomes you to its meetings, which are scheduled for 7 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month. Your interest is encouraged and appreciated. This meeting is broadcast live on Comcast Channel 17, and this meeting is being recorded by NCTV and scheduled for rebroadcast. Please consult the NCTV listings. In addition to being broadcast live on NCTV, it is being broadcast live on the internet at www.cityofgrassvalley.com, and check the City of Grass Valley button, meetings on video, and the City Council on the lower portion of the homepage. The meeting is also recorded on audio tape. Council chambers are wheelchair accessible and listening devices are available. Other special accommodations may be requested by the city clerk 72 hours in advance of the meeting. Action may be taken on any agenda item. Please turn off all cell phones or similar devices. Agenda materials are available at City Hall, Grass Valley Public Library, and the city's website by clicking on the PDF icon. Staff reports and background information related to regular agenda items are available at the City of Grass Valley, City Hall, 125 East Main Street. Materials related to an item on this agenda submitted to the council after distribution of the agenda packet are available for public inspection at City Clerk's office at City Hall during normal business hours. Such documents are also available at the City of Grass Valley website at www.cityofgrassvalley.com. So the meeting is called to order, and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm honored to have my grandson, Alex, here. So, Alex, would you please lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And so, I think by comparison, we can see that Alex and Ben are not that far apart, which makes me really quite ancient. So, roll call, Christy.
Wow.
Councilmember Aguilar.
Here.
Councilmember Arbuckle. Here. Councilmember Foyer. Vice Mayor Swarthout.
Yes.
Mayor Levine.
Yes.
Four members present tonight.
Thank you. Agenda approval. The City Council reserves the right to hear items in a different order in order to accomplish business in the most efficient manner. Are there any changes to the agenda, staff?
No changes from staff.
There was no closed door meeting. Our first item is introductions and presentations. And if I may invite Rick Haffey, CEO of County of Nevada, to come down. Rick, welcome to the city. Have you been here before?
Been here a few times.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's only been a couple of years you've been doing this. Let me read this. And whereas Rick Haffey has spent 42 years in public service, and whereas Rick has been the CEO of Nevada County for 15 of those 42 years, and whereas he began his career with Nevada County in 1999 as Chief Fiscal Administrative Officer of Health and Human Services, and whereas Rick became a CEO in 2000, was assistant CEO in 2000, was appointed as CEO in 2003, and whereas during his time with the county, he successfully led the county through the 2007 recession without reducing public services, and whereas Rick brought about several reorganizations to the county which resulted in increasing effective and efficient government, streamlining consumer services to residents of the county, and whereas Rick served locally, whereas Rick served locally as Nevada County Leadership Institute board member and helped to develop the robust Nevada County Leadership Institute program that exists for community leaders, and whereas Rick has been recognized by neighboring counties for offering support during large-scale emergency events, and whereas he has been recognized by local nonprofits for his dedication to the community. Now, therefore, the mayor and the city council of Grass Valley would like to thank Rick for his dedication and service to our county, and wish him all the best in his retirement.
Thank you.
And so I've been, the last 2 years as mayor, I've been able to sit on mayor managers and work with Rick, and I have a little something to demonstrate our understanding. This one's for you, but I have a little something more. When we have breakfast, Rick has a unique way of ordering bacon. And, you know, in government, there are things you look at to see how people do stuff. And when somebody burns bacon, you wonder about that. So in order to give you an example, and this is from a good Jewish boy from San Francisco State. Yeah. We want to give you an example of how bacon should be done.
Okay.
And we want to thank you for the good humor that you have shown over the years in, you know, allowing us to make fun of you at breakfast.
Okay.
And thank you for all your service in the community.
Well, thank you for this teaching moment. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So we're alums together, as Dan Miller is as well. And where'd you go, Dan?
He went to Sac State.
Oh,
We went to San Francisco State.
he did too. Yeah,
Did you graduate?
yeah. And
He didn't graduate.
And Jason Foya is also a
San Francisco
alumni.
State.
Yeah, so we have a lot of history together.
And you know, you were talking about your grandson being here and Ben being so young and you being so ancient. We went to state at the same time, so
Yeah, you're really
you
ancient
put things in
too.
perspective
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Thank you very
you're
much.
well preserved,
Yeah,
like the bacon.
yep.
Okay.
Great. I just wanted to say thank you to the council and the mayor. It's a really gracious thing you've done here. I noticed you only put nice things in the proclamation, and I greatly appreciate that. Like-
He's looking
It
at
would've
me.
been a lot
He's looking at
longer.
me as he's saying that too. I want you
It
guys
would
to
have been a
notice.
lot longer if we outlined everything.
Everything. If it was a balanced proclamation, this thing would be very long.
They don't let us write them, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I also want to thank the staff. I've enjoyed working with the professional staff of the city of Grass Valley, so thank you very much.
And really,
Appreciate
I
it.
hope to see you around town.
Oh, I'll be around.
Thursday nights or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be around.
thank you too, Nancy, for all your support. Yeah, okay. Don't forget your brochus.
No one knows what that is.
Okay. I'll just go here. Okay. The next item on the agenda is public comment. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person for any items that are not on the agenda within the jurisdiction or interest of the city. Please to come to the podium at this time and speak into the microphone. And that's for items that are not on the agenda. If you wish to speak regarding a scheduled agenda item, please come to the podium when the item number and subject matter are announced and speak into the microphone. When recognized, please begin by providing your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to submit written information at the meeting needs to furnish 10 copies to the city clerk in advance and allow for distribution to the council and staff and media. So any public comment?
I also brought things in plastic bags tonight. I brought the trash I picked up from the Veterans Memorial just this morning. This is a daily occurrence. I pick up the trash there daily. These are small
State your name, and
that's optional on the record. It says optional in parentheses.
it says address is optional, name is not optional.
Okay, I thought you all knew me, but my name is Matthew Coulter, and I'm reluctant to give my name because of the retaliation that I've come under recently from the city, possibly the county. I'm not exactly sure. But I'm glad Mr. Miller is here. Maybe he can clarify to me afterwards. I'd like to start with a quote from George Washington. "Influence is no government." Short quote. The retaliation that I've received from Public Works and now police, as well as others on city staff, and the way that I've been treated as a citizen, I believe that you should all learn this name. And Jan, you probably know this name, right? Because the League of Cities sued this gentleman, and the League of Mayors sued this gentleman in the Supreme Court. He just won for freedom of speech, which he was arrested at a city council meeting for speaking his mind to people that didn't like how he spoke it or why he spoke it, but he spoke it. So it just went all the way through the Supreme Court. So look it up. It's a very interesting decision for freedom of speech. So the retaliation that I've received for bringing discrepancies to the city's attention, I don't think is deserved. I don't like to talk about myself, so I'd like to go back to the fact that there's the trash in the parks, the veterans area, the graffiti in the parks on the tabletops that has still not been taken care of after months of writing requests, the plastic in the creeks and on the streets. For the city to follow their own written rules in regarded to trees, dust, water, legal workers, all these things. Even this morning at a development meeting, wink, nod, meet me after the meeting, we'll talk about cutting down the trees and the other, idiosyncrasies of the project, which is supposed to be public knowledge. Also, at these meetings, there's supposed to be information available. If I have to do a freedom of information request and wait 2 weeks to get something, and you only have 72 hours to post something, how can I get information to get the proper information to speak correctly on the subject? It is quite impossible. Also, the charge for copies is 3 times the price the county charges. So you might want to look into your copier guy. 17 seconds left, so I would just encourage you to maybe look at this again. And Chief, maybe have your officers read this again. I think it's in their oath. I'm not sure. Maybe it's been taken out by now. I thought I heard it when they were being sworn in. But it's just ridiculous that the citizens cannot complain without getting stepped on. Tuesday, I got out of jail. I'm going to run a little bit over just to let you know. Tuesday, I got out of jail at 6 o'clock, made it home, take a quick shower, make it here for the meeting. Talked about concrete, specifically. Dumped into the creeks, dumped recklessly around. The next day, concrete was dumped in my flower beds in front of my house. Coincidence? Possibly. Maybe not. I don't know. You guys probably know. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, not seeing any. That area is concluded. Consent items. All matters listed under the consent calendar to be considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless before the City Council votes on the motion to adopt. Members of the council, staff, or the public request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. Roll call vote. Okay. Any changes in the consent? Staff?
No changes from staff.
Okay. Public? Yes?
All items.
Okay. I will take that back to the council. Does any council wish to hear all items on a separate agenda?
No.
So I would listen to a vote. Motion? I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent.
Second.
All in favor, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember Arbuckle?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Swarthout?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes, thank you.
Motion carries 4-0.
Can I ask a technical question, please? Am I supposed to number them, to pull them?
No,
Why don't you get to pull them?
we don't pull all of them, and it's, Michael, would you please respond to that?
Questions on these different topics?
Council doesn't have to pull things from consent unless they wish to. They generally honor requests from the public, but when you try to pull the full consent calendar, Matthew, it taxes the council's patience, and therefore they don't have to do it.
Where can I get information? Where can the public get information? I thought this was the place to do it.
You're out of order at this point.
Aye, aye, sir.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is items removed from public hearing. We have none tonight. Administrative. Wolf Creek Trail Project Phase 1 authorization to bid.
Great. Good evening, council. For the record, Bjorn Jones, your assistant city engineer. Just a brief presentation update on the Wolf Creek Trail project. This is phase one.
Excuse me,
Wolf Creek
Bjorn, do you
Trail.
want to turn this one on too?
Oh, is
I can't see it anyway, I'm too
Sorry.
short. I am, all I can do is see the top half, so I just kind of, I can't see it.
on? All right. All right, so Wolf Creek Trail. I'm just going to go over some of the key features and kind of map out the proposed alignment as it stands now, and go from there. So, highlighting some of the trail features, it is proposed to be a 6 to 10 foot wide paved multi-use trail, which means it can be used by bicycles, pedestrians alike. 6 feet would be the minimum that we're shooting for. It's going to be in only the tightest sections that are either constrained by topography or right-of-way. And then the majority of the trail would be 10 feet wide, which is the preferred standard for multi-use trails. Approximately 1.25 miles long, running from the North Star Mining Museum on Allison Ranch Road, city-owned property there, and traversing to the south, kind of meandering along the creek, mostly on the east side of the creek, and connecting down to Freeman Lane at River Otter Way, right by the Wolf Creek Lodge co-housing just south of McKnight. And the majority of the trail has been designed for accessibility, to meet accessibility standards as much as feasible. Kind of the bird's eye view of the entire trail layout. So, calling this the start point down near the intersection of Allison Ranch Road, Freeman Lane, McCourtney, where the mining museum is, and running along through mostly city-owned property and existing easements down to the south, and connecting in back in Freeman Lane through a trail easement at River Otter Way. Zooming in a little bit, I'll just run through some different sections of the trail. If there's any questions, we can come back to these slides, but this is the first section from the mining museum down towards our wastewater treatment plant. And most of these trails and area that we're constructing the paved portion in is already existing. A lot of it's rocked already. Fire roads, access roads, sewer access roads, and the like. This portion comes by the mining museum property towards our treatment plant, would enter in near an access gate on the north side of the plant, and then wind up through what is the animal control property, wind up to connect to the main entrance to the treatment plant, and then this road is already in place essentially with gravel, so it would traverse out to the south. From there, sliding across, a lot of this road is already in place with the access roads that were put in as part of the sinkhole stabilization. So currently there are 2 loops here that are already rocked, so this would just be paving over majority of what's there. Coming over towards where the Little Wolf Creek comes across the freeway, you can see the creek coming down here with the confluence of Main Wolf Creek. Meandering along behind the Rayleigh's property. Staying just on the east side of the creek, coming up towards Wolf Creek Lodge. And then this is where it gets a little tricky due to the topography, but we'd be switchbacking up the hillside through an open space and trail easement that was established with the Wolf Creek Lodge, coming up to River Otter Way, and then connecting into Freeman Lane with an established open space easement, trail easement there. We have been working closely with the lodge to get their concurrence on the alignment and some of their concerns with access and protecting their space, proper signage and maintenance. That's kind of the basic layout. Some of the next steps, we're asking for authorization to advertise bidding at this time. And then we'd plan to return in August to award the construction contract if a suitable responsive bidder was found. And then all things going well, we'd like to begin construction later in the fall this year. And that would be dependent on getting a contractor in place and the weather, of course. Any questions?
Ben?
That's a great presentation. Thank you. It's really exciting that we get to move forward with a project like this, and it's been a long time in the making since we had the issue with the with the failed culvert sinkhole. And it's nice to see that we could have something positive come out of this. So thank you.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, again, it all started when we did the cleanup along that bank. The community cleanup is when we realized that the potential was there. And it was so nice to have all of our partners there, Circle and Wolf Creek Alliance, in favor of creating this. So good job. It's come to fruition. So thank you for that.
So Wolf Creek Trail goes back a long time. I think I was in my mid-40s. But it is a project that should provide an opportunity for people to access a beautiful part of Grass Valley immediately in the core of the city. And it is, when I've taken people out there, they've just been amazed by how beautiful it is down there, and that it's right here and available to us. And I'd also like to thank the Land Trust, Wolf Creek Alliance, and Circle for the help that they've provided throughout the year, and C&D and the people who organized the cleanup along the Wolf Creek Trail, and the staff of the City of Grass Valley. This is a long time coming. It's a project that I think will give Grass Valley a new demeanor and a bit of a personality that we haven't had to this point, and I think it's a really great place to move forward. So, okay, without going into too much more, this is not a public hearing, but it's an administrative action, but we do open it up to the public to comment on it. So thank you.
I have Matthew Coulter, Grass Valley. I have lots of questions, including do we ever find out what caused the sinkhole, or is that like unknown?
Not something we can comment on while we're still in litigation over it.
Or we're still in litigation. Okay. Any idea of what it's cost the city so far? This Wolf Creek Trail project, just in this zone?
Why don't you ask all your questions, please?
Well, they
This
won't be
way.
answered, so I don't know why I even asked, but I'll continue.
Well, if you,
Because this is a complete boondoggle. I talked to Freed today. Anna was taken out there, the director of Freed. They weren't talked about paving, okay? So everyone's against paving. Bear Yuba Land Trust, they have one paved trail. It's the Lytton Trail. It's the most problematic trail because it needs maintenance and it's super expensive to maintain. Wolf Creek Community Alliance, they do not want pavement. Circle does not want pavement. So you can thank them, you can stroke them, but they don't want these things, okay? The ADA grades in red at the ends are unusable by wheelchairs. So you can use one section of it, but you can't use other sections of it unless you have somebody to push you or have an electric-powered wheelchair or you're extremely fit. Cutting down of more trees to do this project. There's already been thousands of trees taken out of this area unnecessarily. Moving more disturbed toxic soil. We keep calling it a trail. Why don't we call it a road? Why don't we call it what it is? We're putting in a road. Because Bear Yuba Land Trust went in and put in some trails down below the road which are very nice and peaceful, and it gets you a little bit back more to the environment. But for what you're doing, we need that pavement on South Auburn. We need that pavement on Idaho, Maryland. We need that pavement on all kinds of roads in town. We don't need it in the Wolf Creek watershed to add more toxicity to an already extremely toxic area, including sometimes the smell is so bad down there because of the sewage treatment plant, it burns your eyes. You have to get out of the area immediately. It's not a place you want to hang out. So certain sections, and depending on which way the wind blows, the trail is unusable and will not be used. On these hot days like this, unusable. Go down there tonight, take a whiff. See if that's where you want to stroll with your family. No thanks. But the cutting of the trees, and also the fact that it's piece by piece. How come it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom that then is going to supposedly, I thought it was supposed to connect over to the ranch that just got clear cut over there behind Kmart. I thought this was a trail system and not just little chunks of sidewalk that don't connect to anything, except for maybe city streets if you're lucky, or maybe a very long roundabout connection to somewhere else that would be very short, but it's been cut off due to the fact that
Thank you,
we're
Mr.
just
Coulter.
doing little tiny pieces.
Thank you, Mr. Coulter.
And somebody's friends are getting paid
Thank
for
you,
this,
Mr. Coulter.
like C&D.
Good evening, members of the council and staff. I'm Bob Brandstrom from 800 Freeman Lane, which is Wolf Creek Lodge. And tonight I'm here actually in my capacity as the chair of the Wolf Creek Lodge Association. This item was on the agenda 2 weeks ago, and it came as a bit of a surprise. There was some miscommunication between city staff and Wolf Creek Lodge about where the status of the project was, and I requested that this item be pulled from the agenda, which is why the staff did that at my request, and I want to thank them for doing that. I won't go into details, but I will say that the staff has been incredibly helpful the last 2 weeks, working with Wolf Creek Lodge to resolve issues, and we've been fortunate to have another one of our residents, Claire Miller, who stepped up to work very actively with Bjorn and primarily Bjorn, but also Tim, to resolve a lot of the questions that we had. And I think she'll be getting up and saying a few more words, but we support the trail. We are delighted to have it going in, and we look forward to being able to eventually use the full trail system to go from our property along the creek into town. We think it'd be wonderful. So thanks for all the work that the staff and the council has done on this over the last 2 years. We're excited about it.
Hello all. My name is Claire Miller. I'm also a resident of the Wolf Creek Lodge community, and I'm very appreciative of Bob Brandstrom for getting me involved in this, I think, and he, the current liaisons that to work between Wolf Creek Lodge and the city as the work proceeds will be myself and Jeff Pollard, who could not be here tonight, but you'll get to know him. But I just want to let you know how well the city worked with us these last couple of weeks. It was really escalated the timeline that Wolf Creek Lodge normally works under, but it's happened, and we're grateful. And thank you, Bjorn. And thank you all. It's been a pleasure. And I'm eager to walk.
Any other close comment? Back to the council.
No, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the advertisement for bids for Phase 1 of the Wolf Creek Trail Project.
Second.
I'm going to ask for a roll call.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember Arbuckle?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Swarthout?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes. After 30 years of working on this, it's a pleasure to vote yes.
Carries 4-0.
Okay, to finish up, brief reports by council members. Council member?
Sure. Let's see. Last week, I attended the sign dedication at Martino Park, honoring our first woman mayor, Dee Martino, with a very nice new sign in the park. It looks terrific. I also attended the World Fest one afternoon, which is a terrific event that happens in our community. 4,000 to 5,000 people at the fairgrounds every day, listening to great music, enjoying the fairgrounds, and I think it was a big success this year. And then Saturday night, I think all of us attended the Hospital Foundation event, Starry Starry Nights, which also I think was a big success, and it's a wonderful event that raises money for the Hospital Foundation here. 2 Thursday night markets left, this Thursday the 26th and then August 2nd. And I believe August 2nd is Public Safety, which is our own police and firefighter musical group. So invite everybody to come out and listen to them. They're fantastic. Alex, you're singing? No.
Dancing.
No, that's when you're going to do the lip sync challenge, is that night.
How about Jan, so I don't forget you? There's so many of us up here.
Stop it. Let's see, I attended the Nevada County Law Enforcement Fire Council meeting, attended World Fest, which was wonderful, attended the grand opening of our newest business downtown of Cork 49, attended the sign reveal of DiMartino Park, attended Starry Nights, went to the NCTC meeting up in Truckee, and let's see, then went up to Truckee that morning, came back to be on the panel for the community panel on aging and disability, which was great. And then yes, you did that too. And on Friday, I went up to the Sacramento Valley Division of the League of California Cities to Mount Shasta. I had never been actually on the mountain before, and we got a great guided tour by the forest rangers, which explained the significance of Mount Shasta, and I think it's called Panther Spring Meadows, and then the Sacred Spring. The Native American Indians still consider that sacred ground, and they still do their some of their ceremonies there. So it was I loved it. It was great. It was a long trip because I went up on Friday morning and I came home after the meeting on Friday night. So, but it was well worth it. So that's what I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I had a beautiful drive up to Truckee for the LAFCO meeting, where it was about 6-7 degrees cooler up there. It's a nice little breakaway. Attended the Thursday night market, and we got our picture from the last time we were there. So, do they have it going on every week with the picture, or is it just that few times? Oh, perfect. So when you go to the farmers market this Thursday, there'll be a photographer by the mural, so you get a picture with your family at the mural, and they'll email it to you, and it's a nice little keepsake. So great job from the Downtown Association for having that little bonus. Attended Starry Nights. I could hear World Fest from my home.
You don't live near the fairground.
It brought back memories where you could hear the races from all the way across town. But yeah, I could hear a lot of the stuff that was going on there. So that was pretty good. That was you snoring? That was later.
Okay, I did some of those things. Actually, the Freed Conference was really fun doing that. Yeah, and is it Anushka?
Yeah.
We got to meet Anushka Shankar, and that was another amazing thing that happens in Nevada County. How do you get to meet these people? And at the World Fest, I did mayor managers meeting, hospital foundation, Starry Nights, and I had another meeting with the Love Walk, and we've decided on an afternoon in coordination with Communities Beyond Bias and Wild and Scenic Film Festival Monday afternoon. And it was quite a wonderful meeting and a lot of coming together. And so we're working on that. And I will be missing the next council meeting, so Lisa will be warming up or doing something and getting ready. Yeah.
I'll be here.
So, okay. And with that, meeting's adjourned.
you've ever been in love, well then you know. You've ever been in love, well then you know. Then you know all about heartache when it's breaking inside, and you're all alone without her. Please understand that I love you deeply, heavenly. You are all that I love. Please understand